Shortly before 2 o'clock in the morning, there was a violent explosion, a really terrifying noise. My mother took us out of doors onto the veranda. The sky was lit by great flashes of flame as we watched the mountain bursting forth in violent eruption. Great rocks were visible against the bright flames as they were shot into the air. The red flames of the volcano showed clearly the showers of rocks being shot up into the air, that I cannot possibly forget the strangeness and the colour of the sight.
Lying 24 kilometres southeast of Rotorua, Mt Tarawera is an unusual-looking mountain with several large domes and a broad flat top. It was shaped by volcanic activity hundreds of years ago. The Māori inhabitants of the area and the Europeans who arrived in the 19th century did not know that Tarawera was an active volcano until 1886, when it came to life in the deadliest known eruption in the country's history. Before the Tarawera eruption, the spectacular Pink and White Terraces were considered one of the scenic wonders of the world. The terraces consisted of delicately coloured volcanic rock that formed tiered layers of natural hot pools where visitors from all around the world would bathe. There were few warning signs that an eruption would take place, though there was a sudden and unexplained rise in the level of Lake Tarawera and a rise in thermal activity.
Our guide pointed out that the mud from one of the geysers had been projected fully 25 yards from the crater quite recently, for it was soft, and all this was pointed out as quite unusual. I could not judge if the activity was greater than usual, but on arriving at this terminal point of our expedition, I began to feel uneasy and to realize a sense of danger connected with all around me.
Then, 11 days before the eruption, both Māori and European visitors, including the famous guide Sophia, reported seeing a ghostly Māori war canoe paddling across Lake Tarawera. Guide Sophia consulted her tribe's tohunga, or priest, Tū Hotoariki, and he interpreted the phantom canoe as a bad omen. He believed Māori would be punished for exploiting the area for money without paying due respect to their ancestors. In the early hours of June the 10th, Tū Hotoariki's prophecy was fulfilled. Mt Tarawera split apart, spewing forth millions of tons of ash and debris. At Te Wairoa village, about 8 kilometres away from the terraces, people were woken after midnight by a series of violent earthquakes. Around 2 a.m, Mt Tarawera erupted, and by 2:30, fountains of glowing lava and a cloud of ash up to 10 kilometres high, through which intense lightning flickered, were thrust skywards. At Te Wairoa, more than 60 people sheltered in Guide Sophia's sturdy hut, which survived the eruption. Later, craters on the southwest side of the mountain blasted open, and a crack 17 kilometres long spewed steam, mud and ash. The eruptions finally ended by about 6 a.m. Earthquakes were felt throughout the North Island, and noise caused by the eruption was heard as far south as Blenheim. Aucklanders thought it was distant cannon fire. The next day, the skies around Mt Tarawera were pitch black. Rescue parties found a number of small settlements had been completely destroyed or buried. The tohunga who predicted the calamitous event, Tū Hotoariki, survived the eruption and was dug from his buried house after 4 days. He died several weeks later. Over 100 local Māori died in the eruption. The Pink and White Terraces vanished. Their former site became a 100-metre deep crater that eventually filled with water to form a new, much larger Lake Rotomahana. In early 2011, some of the old pink terraces were discovered by sonar lying at the bottom of this lake. Te Wairoa is today known as the Buried Village. Excavation has revealed the extent of the settlement that developed as a result of tourism to the Pink and White Terraces. The village had a flour mill, houses, a hotel, schoolhouse, and several other buildings.